Well, this is a difficult one because these are serious accusations. It's just the timeline with Virginia is really, really weird. So, the short context with her is she's a victim of Epstein and his cohorts. And Prince Andrew had a settlement with her in 2020. Keep that in mind. That's very going to be very relevant. So she has a little bit of money, and recently she got into an accident. Although now that we're going to get into the details, it's actually not clear what the accident was. So what is the problem? Well, she shared this very alarming photo on Instagram. Although now they're taking that back, saying that was an accident. Okay, so be it. So after this alleged accident in Australia, she put us this very alarming picture. She does look really in terrible shape, and she says she has 4 days to live, which is clearly not true because she's still alive. So most recently, she put out a statement that her husband, for years and years, was abusing her. Okay, now the problem is this sounds a little suspicious because last year he made a report to the police that she was being violent and there's a restraining order. Okay, now could be the husband is manipulating the system, right? Okay, let's be careful. And it could be true that he really is guilty, but we don't really have any real evidence. He just says this. Now, the problem here is the timing. This is just coming out hours and hours ago. She put out a statement with her family, like her brother and her brother's wife is supporting her, that she has been the victim for years and years. No evidence, just she's been victimized all these years, which doesn't add up. If she had the settlement with Prince Andrew, and she does have a little bit of money. Now, why do we know this? Well, we know this for a fact because she can afford a driver and a caretaker. Now, caretaker, what you might ask, we're going to get into it because it sounds so weird and ridiculous. But just hang on because this is such a weird story. And I'm going to not include some names because I just want to keep it simple, but I have checked these articles. These names are public, but I want to keep it discreet. So essentially what happened is, and there was a car accident with a bus in Australia. But now several added details are putting into doubt her story. So she said that the accident was very severe. She went to the hospital and she shared that alarming photo. So what's the truth? Well, the driver of the bus got out when the accident happened and double checked and spoke to her driver, right? And her driver, Cheryl, is also the caretaker of a farm. The farm is valued at $1 million US. Now, this is Australia. So exchange rates are different, but right, in terms of US terms, it's $1 million. So she has a little bit of money. Okay. And the bus driver asked, well, how is this woman? Is she okay? Uh, he did notice she had a black eye. So maybe this lends credibility, but there was no severe accident. It was slight accident. You're only supposed to report, apparently in Australia, if it's a certain threshold. It was below the threshold. He still reported it, saying, well, we had this accident. Wasn't a big deal. He exchanged information with Cheryl. He was a little suspicious because he's like, this is a little weird. And then, of course, she puts out the photo and the Instagram message. And now several mothers, not just the bus driver, are contradicting her story, saying, oh, I have 4 days to live. This is severe injuries, but not from the accident. And the police double checked. There were no reports of any severe accident. So why is she in the hospital? Don't know. Is this photo even from the accident? What's the context of the photo? Don't know that either. Is she saying the photo is due to the husband? Is it a real photo? Was it touched up? Don't know that either. It's a lot of unknowns. But the mothers and the driver have come forward because they had children, obviously, on the bus, right? And they asked, saying, well, what happened? And they're like, nothing really happened. It wasn't really a big accident. It was just a little bump. Thankfully, nobody got hurt, including her. The driver was like, I didn't see her injured at all. So this is just really weird. And now, right, days ago, her story was getting refuted and contradicted. And now, out of nowhere, she says, oh, I'm a survivor of alleged things with the husband. And you're like, wait a minute. If you have the equivalent of at least, right, well over $1 million, right, Now, we don't know the exact amount for the settlement. We don't. But the terms of the settlement are Andrew doesn't have to admit he's guilty, right? That's how settlements go. Now, my personal opinion, yeah, obviously Andrew and Epstein are guilty. They're a bunch of evil, fine, they're evil devil people. The question is she telling the truth? Also, why are you saying this now? You have the resources, right? Literally. So this doesn't make any sense. Most people, when they suffer from these issues, the problem is, well, you got to find your own place. You got to get away from, right, any possible source of trouble. She has the resources. So you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, you don't have to stay with this person. Was she saying that she was too poor before she got the settlement, or she's only getting the settlement money now? That could happen, right? Depends on the terms of the settlement. Or, which is more likely, she does have the resources, but you stayed in the relationship. It's a toxic relationship. It's all very weird. So her family's explaining the problem is that her husband is taking advantage of the legal system, and he called the police first, so he got the restraining order, but she's the one that's innocent. And that photo is real, and her injuries are due to the abuse. This is all very strange. But there's still no evidence that this photo is connected to this car accident. No evidence it was a severe accident. It's just many things still not confirmed. So we're kind of like, what is going on here? It's just all very strange. So I'm being nice, but it does seem we're dealing with a pathological liar because even her story with Andrew and Epstein, some people came out and said that's not exactly what happened. Seems like she exaggerated portions of her story, which is fine, right? It's understandable for a civil case, you will exaggerate or pump up your case. You can do that. You can't lie, but within a boundary, you're allowed to embellish, right? It is what it is, right? It's a different system with criminal law and civil law, right? So you have to be careful there. That said, this is all very strange that this is all coming out now. And again, Cheryl, the caretaker slash driver, says she's not part of any scam. She hopes that, right, Virginia will do some follow up statements clarifying because apparently she is affirming, yeah, there wasn't a major accident. Nobody got hurt. So this is all very strange. Like, why did she share that on Instagram? And now the claim is that she didn't know she shared it on Instagram. It was meant to go to a private Facebook group. Okay? All right. So she was so badly injured, she couldn't tell, which makes sense. If she was badly injured, we don't know she's badly injured. She could have made that up. So it's all very strange. So we just have that one alarming photo. But what's the context? We don't know. And thus far, no evidence. No evidence is presented. She had these severe injuries from the accident. We have tons of testimony and counter evidence that it wasn't a big accident. And now that her story is falling apart with the whole bus Australian accident, now she's coming out and saying, oh, I'm the victim of abuse. Pity party. I'm a survivor of Epstein and now my husband. Again, goodwill, good faith. Some parts of the story may be true, right? Again, we don't know yet if the husband is correct, that she's the violent one and he was trying to get away from her. We don't know. We don't know. So it's a lot of unknowns here. Her brother and the brother's wife is like, no, believe her. Why? And the brother's like, oh, just believe in the facts. Well, that's the whole point. What are the facts here? It seems like this accident was just spun into this big thing, which was not even a real problem. And she was melodramatically saying, I have 4 days to live. She's still alive, to my knowledge. It's been more than 4 days, so why'd she have to go to the hospital? Was it due to what the husband did? And if so, you'd imagine, because there are photos of them together. I found tons of photos she shared. She seems to be happy. It seems to be fine. If there are cases, right, it's rare where these things can happen, right, with toxic relationships, but usually you will see signs. You will see signs that the person has suffered injuries, right? There are very obvious telltale signs, right? Right, wearing glasses all the time, hiding injuries, you can tell the person's being hurt. We're not seeing that. It seems like you're a happy couple, and maybe this is an issue with divorce, with the children, something else is going on. We don't know. I'm just getting a little suspicious because I'm also doing research on Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and she's a complete mess. There's just so much instances of lying with her. So, to be fair, we only have a few instances of her lying. And again, it's understandable. If you're victimized, it makes sense. It does make sense. You might embellish your story, right? There's overwhelming evidence. Epstein and Andrew are really evil. However, doesn't mean we can trust her all the time either. So it's just a lot of questions, a lot of questions. But this is an evolving story. I'm just doing an update. We will do more. But yeah, so far it's very strange. It's very strange. It just doesn't seem to be anything to confirm her story about major accident or that she has 4 days to live. So it's like, what is going on here? I don't know. I don't know. But it's all very strange.